What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. SummerSlam is finally here, and what the tribal chief just went on. Join us now as we look at the recap of the show, as well as the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, Wrestlelamia Shorts. First, let's look at a recap, as Ricochet takes on Logan Paul in the opening match. Logan Paul dominates the match, but Ricochet stays in it, threatening Paul several times. Finally, the Maverick takes the easy way out and has his friend hand him brass knuckles, which uses to slug Ricochet and get the 1-2-3. Logan Paul wins the match. Next up is Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Now, Brock dominates Cody for much of the match, at several points telling Rhodes to stay outside the ring and get counted out. Rhodes refuses and finally mounts a comeback. Cody goes for the crossroads, but Lesnar counters into the Chimera lock. Rhodes manages to reach the ropes and Cody locks the Chimera on Brock as he taps out. Cody Rhodes wins the match. Next up is the SummerSlam Slim Jim Battle Royal. A business picks up when MVP arrives and announces Omos is entering the Battle Royal. Omos dominates the match, eliminating several superstars before remaining wrestlers team up and eliminate him. The match sees Sheamus and LA Knight as the last competitors, with Knight throwing Sheamus out for the win as LA Knight wins the Slim Jim Battle Royal. Yeah, finally a win. Next up is the MMA rules match as Ronda Rousey takes on Shayna Baszler. There's no countouts and no DQs for this one. The only way to win is to knock out your opponent or force a submission. Rousey and Baszler go for the submission, but to no avail. Finally, Baszler locks in the Kirifuda clutch for the knockout as Shayna Baszler wins the match. Next up is the Intercontinental Championship match as champion Gunther takes on Drew McIntyre. Drew proves a powerful opponent as he's not outmatched by size or power, unlike Gunther's many other opponents. However, a superplex attempt goes badly, with Drew crotching himself on the top rope and the ring general capitalizing with a powerbomb to win the match as Gunther retains the Intercontinental Championship. Next up is the World Heavyweight Championship match as Seth freaking Rollins takes on Finn Balor. Balor is out for revenge and the World Heavyweight Championship, 7 years in the making. The match goes back and forth with several close calls until the Judgment Day show up, and Damian Priest lends his Money in the Bank briefcase to Balor, who fails to capitalize on using it. Instead, Seth hits the curb stomp on Balor, driving his head into the briefcase for the easy cover, as Seth Rollins retains the World Heavyweight Championship. Next up is the triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship as champion Asuka takes on Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair. A wild triple threat with each woman going for the win, while the presence of a third competitor only makes it harder to get the win. Sadly, Belair is taken to the back after Charlotte sends her out of the ring with a back body drop and Belair hits her knees on the steel steps. However, Belair crawls back into the ring, making a heroic win by rolling up Asuka for the champion, spraying mist in Charlotte's face as Bianca Belair becomes the new WWE Women's Champion. However, it's not for long, as Damage Control's Bayley and Io Sky run out, taking out Asuka and Flair. They rush the ring with Sky clobbering Belair with a briefcase before cashing it in, so we have the next match, which is a WWE Women's Championship match as champion Bianca Belair takes on Io Sky. Now, Belair is in no shape for a match after hurting her knee. Sky lands a moonsault for the easy cover, and it's 1-2-3 as Io Sky becomes the new WWE Women's Champion. Dakota Kai joins Bayley in celebrating Sky's big win. And finally, it's time for the main event, as it's the Tribal Combat match for the Undisputed Championship and control of the Bloodline, as champion Roman Reigns takes on Jey Uso. Jey Uso takes the fight to Roman, but Solo Sikoa shows up, helping the Tribal Chief out. Jey fights back, taking Solo out and hitting the Uso splash on Roman, only for a hooded figure to pull Jey right out of the ring. It's Jimmy Uso. Jimmy super kicks Jey on the outside of the ring and then throws Jey into the ring, where Roman spears Jey through a table, pinning him to retain as Undisputed Champion. Roman looks confused, and so are we as SummerSlam closes out. Now, that was a quick recap. What about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly? As always, we start off with the good as number 1, a sensational start. Logan Paul vs Ricochet blew the roof off Ford Field as both men showcased their array of gravity-defying maneuvers. Paul played the cocky heel to perfection, taunting the fans and Ricochet's fiancée, ring announcer Samantha Irvin. The match was a stellar showcase for Ricochet and Paul, choosing to take the easy way out by using brass knuckles, leaving the door open for a rematch. It also sets things up for the WWE to push Ricochet if they want to. Number 2, Brock gives Cody the rub. Brock Lesnar gave Cody Rhodes the rub in 2 significant ways tonight. The first was putting Rhodes over strong by taking his second pinfall loss to Rhodes, this time in convincing fashion after the Beast took 3 consecutive crossroads. The second was in raising Cody's arm in victory and presenting Rhodes to the fans in each corner of the ring before shaking the American Nightmare's hand and then even hugging him. Although Cody's critics are questioning why Lesnar seemingly turned soft, the reality is that Cody earned Lesnar's respect, taking everything the Beast dished out but refusing to back down. Naturally, the WWE hopes this gesture will further the fans' admiration for Cody's determination to fulfill his daddy's dream, regardless of who or what stands in his way. Number 3, LA Knight gets the win, finally. It's great news for LA Knight, as Knight only got to work at a PLE, but he won his match. On paper, this Battle Royal was nothing but a cash grab by WWE to get a hefty sponsorship check from Slim Jim. However, the SummerSlam Battle Royal turned out to be a surprising entertaining match and harkened back to old school matches where wrestlers had to deal with a titan such as Andre the Giant, or in this case, Omos. Knight's win and appearance is long overdue, and hopefully the rumors of LA Knight getting a push after SummerSlam pans out. Number 4, oh yeah! Speaking of the SummerSlam Battle Royal, sponsored by Slim Jim, in case you somehow missed it, it was fun to see how the WWE incorporate Macho Man Randy Savage into the Slim Jim commercial that featured LA Knight and Bianca Belair. The Hall of Famer has created many memories in the ring as well as outside, with his longtime Slim Jim endorsement deal being one of the best remembered. Number 5, a hella hoss fight. Drew McIntyre vs Gunther was a hella hoss fight, with Gunther having to dig deep to even keep up with the 2-time former WWE champion. But that's not to say that the champion was manhandled by the challenger, but Gunther endured one hellacious hoss fight along the way to victory. Whilst the result was very predictable, the WWE went with a clever finish by having McIntyre crotch himself on the top rope, allowing Gunther to capitalize with a battery of moves. Drew's bad break turned good for Gunther, who is now coming close to breaking the Honky Tonk Man's record IC title reign. Number 6, Io Sky cashes in her Money in the Bank briefcase. Io Sky's briefcase cash-in was an exciting moment that allowed Belair to regain the WWE Women's Championship after a gutsy performance, only to have it snatched away. This should open the door for several storylines, including jealousy between Bayley and Sky, Belair's growing resentment over playing by the rules, and the chance for a fresh series of matches between the new champion and the usual suspects. Funny enough, Bianca Belair's reign was only 1 minute and 17 seconds, better than getting squashed in a match at 26 seconds. And the real world's champion. Tonight's title defense by Seth Rollins was a reminder why the World Heavyweight Championship is the only world title in WWE. Seth and Finn put on an outstanding match, as you'd expect from both talents, with WWE feeding fans a heaping serve of suspense as they wonder whether Balor would capture the belt. The Judgment Day's eventual arrival raised the stakes further and also increased the tension between Balor and Damian Priest, as fans wonder whether the Archer of Infamy's efforts to help Balor backfired, or Finn only has himself to blame. But that was the good. What about the bad? Number 1, it's 2023. The WWE really doesn't need Kid Rock. Kid Rock's opening presentation was another example of WWE using celebrities for an opening hype video. The problem is that Kid Rock is no longer relevant, and he has so much baggage thanks to his controversial comments that he's not worth the trouble anymore. Number 2, where's the DQ ref? Why was Cody Rhodes able to clobber Brock Lesnar with the ring steps without being disqualified, particularly with the referee looking right at the transgression? This spot made no sense. This was unfortunate, as it took away from what was otherwise an action-packed match with a captivating story. Number 3, WWE throws salt in the women's wounds. But just when fans thought the WWE couldn't treat its women's division any worse by axing Trish Stratus vs Becky Lynch from SummerSlam to make room for the SummerSlam Battle Royal, they added salt to the women's wounds by airing a Becky Lynch hype video. Was this their attempt to soften the blow for Becky? If so, it seemed counterproductive and only made her absence from the ring more noticeable. Number 4, a strange and kind of lifeless match. The MMA rules match between Rousey and Shayna Baszler failed on several ways. First, both superstars worked gingerly, no doubt trying to perform a worked MMA style match without knocking each other's block off. Second, the match itself was boring, as it consisted largely of submission attempts. Baszler's win by technical submission seemed to take forever, a reminder why wrestling is much different than MMA and often more exciting. Wrestling News reports that this is Ronda's last WWE match, and it's somewhat fitting that it's just like Ronda's second WWE run. This match was uneventful. Sadly, it's doubtful Shayna's win will do much for her singles push, short of the WWE giving her a major push. And lastly, in the bad, prolific product placement. Now, it's great to see WWE's overall success leading to landing more blue chip advertisers and big money product placement and sponsorship deals. Unfortunately, they're getting a little carried away. They need to find a little bit of a balance. They named a whole match after a sponsor. They had sponsors on the barricade everywhere. Just chill. And finally, the downright ugly. Failure on a different level. Now, the finish to tonight's main event of Jimmy Uso betraying his twin brother Jay made zero sense. Worse, it served as a bitter reminder of how far the WWE will go to keep the belt on Reigns, regardless of how nonsensical the finish is. Tonight's main event match wasn't much to begin with, as it dragged until Solo Sikoa showed up, and even then it was ridiculously repetitive. Or maybe because we just sat through about 4.5 hours of wrestling, and this was a good 40-minute match. A SummerSlam was all over with some phenomenal matches, but some awful matches and finishes. What do you guys think of SummerSlam? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.